the realities of the day job and the realities of being a founder.
Went about the co-founder to a neutral entity who's not going to rat on you and go and talk behind you. I have one slide which tells you what the problem is. Welcome to the very first episode of the Founders Brew. My name is Sunil, and this is my co-host Dushyant. We are two friends who spent a lot of years building startups across India and Singapore, and we currently are also founders, co-founders in our own early stage startup. And this podcast is an extension of what we had been doing for almost a year now. Meeting at coffee shops and having all kinds of discussions, and we thought that why not formalize it and have it as a podcast. So, Dushyant.
Yeah, I remember the first time when I came to you, I had a problem. We were at the Tong Baru bakery, the lovely coffee. You had your usual flat white. I was having my long black, and we had such a good time. I think you provided me the solution. I used you like a wall. I think it was great. And founder helping founder, I think is a great initiative. We wanted to do that, and we'll use podcast as a means of doing it. So, which means we will unpack all the good things, the bad things, and the ugly things, from raising money to managing and finding what's the best. But we don't want to be going the preachy way. This has to come from the hard truth. From the hard experience, something which is counterintuitive. Hopefully, we'll be able to provide a good foundation for people who are thinking they're in their day job, want to build a startup, have an idea, don't know how to get out, or maybe somebody who's already in and need a sounding board.
Yes.
It'll be all for them.
The only difference in here is that we are not going to have any flat white here at the moment, extra hot flat white. We'll get to that eventually, probably carry it along with us in a flask or something like that. But yes, that's the whole idea. I think what's important is going to be the fact that this is a comfortable space where while Dushyant and me are unpacking some of the ideas that we want to make it as friendly as possible. So this is going to be more like a conversation between friends, and we'll invite guests over. We will bring people over, and in today's episodes, I think we'll give you a little bit of background on who we are, what do we do, why are we doing this, and then we will dive straight into the classic startup problems. What do you do when you're a non-tech founder? Both of us are non-tech founders.
Both of us are like non-tech. I think this was the other foundation on which we wanted to build. The non-tech founder and the plight, what are the common issues, and do you really need a tech founder when you're building this space? I see a lot of my friends sending me requests. I need a CTO. Do you know of a good one? I have an idea. I need a CTO. Do you have somebody who's in tech who can build it for me? I think that's the theme that's we wanted to start our podcast with, a very thought invigorating idea and discussion.
I think Dushyant, all the podcasts that we follow, you and me follow, most of them focus on tech guys doing cool things, right? Whereas the non-tech founders sometimes get a raw deal. They know a lot of things, but then they don't know how to build a product. So hence they get kind of FOMO that they get scared. So a lot of that is being unpacked in our sessions. I think that is where the idea is.
My background gets into my love of startup started with Make My Trip, where I was one of the first few employees there, and all our three founders, Deep, Kure, and Sachin, they were all non-tech people. It was only after 5-6 years that they brought in a CTO. Till then, everything was outsourced. So therefore, for me, it starts from that foundation where you find a really meaty problem, a juicy problem, which has got a good business and a revenue generation out of it before you start building the tech. This is like the theme for many such stories that we will share. Some of them close to us, some of them not. But yeah, this is the theme for today.
That's right. I think both of us have that exact same kind of experience with this. You were with Make My Trip, and great product that got built out here. I have kind of hopped between being totally startup and somewhere like semi startup, or building a product that has never been built within an existing large organization. Oh, we've done all of that, but the constant thing has always been is that every team member, every investor, every CEO, every boss has always said, "Are you tech? Are you a techie?" Uh, I don't know whether I'm a techie. I got good ideas. I can put things together as long as that becomes the starting point. I think Dushyant, you have a lot of examples. I remember one whole TBB coffee shop session where you quite literally gave me examples after examples of how non-tech founders have built some great businesses. Why don't you just give me some of those?
The first, I think, was about the thing is, what exactly do we need in a non-tech founder? I mean, there have been several examples. The first one is of Casper, the mattress company, Phil Krim. He was expert in his e-commerce. He was a seller, digital marketing expert, and it was only until he found the momentum and the revenue that he got in Neil Parikh, who's now the CTO. Casper had identified a very, very critical pain problem. I mean, I go to my first experience of buying a mattress. I had to literally go to many shops, lie on them before buying one. Whereas these guys made everything really simple. It was quirky, laughable campaign. Mattress comes to you, you just roll it off and then fix it. The size is consistent, and if you don't like it, they'll come and take it back within 100 days. So that's a great convenience to have. It's especially for the newly working couple. It was a great thing because you don't have to spend that much time, especially in US, where such stores used to be like far away from the city. So this is a classic example of problem.
Mattress coming to you instead of you going to the mattress.
Very rightly put. The mattress coming to you. Exactly, that's what they did. They made the mattress come to
It's very, very important. Very important. So, what exactly? I mean, what do you think was the founder's thought process when he was looking for a CTO thereafter? I mean, he found a sweet spot that he wanted to cater to, and till he met Neil Parikh, who eventually became a co-founder. What do you think would have been his pitch? If say a investor or the board asked him, "Hey, where is the tech?"
Yeah, I think it's about the customers, right? And tech can only make it more convenient, more accessible, more scalable. But the first thing is to show that product market fit, the PMF that we always talk about. That is what is there. I see. My current company, SmartWiz, is also funded by Antler, and this is a format that we follow at Antler. Unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, we went there as a team. We already were a team, but Antler and some of these incubators does this mixing. You are from a specific background, you form a team, form a company, and pitch. And typically, I've seen it'll be either two tech guys getting together or one tech and one business guy getting together, but never I've seen very less where it's the two non-tech people coming together, and mostly after that, what you would find on LinkedIn is, hey, I've got this idea. Would you like to become a CTO? Reaching out to many tech guys without having any. How does that sound to you?
Yeah. Do you need to add in your profile something like you're a visionary founder or anything
Whoa!
like that? So do you need to do that?
Visionary and a founder,
Yeah.
they're like,
contradicting.
Yeah, as a founder, you don't have a vision, because I like the post that you sent out the other day. It said, you die every day, right? So I don't know, your vision is for a day or for maybe about 2 days. That's about it, because the survival is the key, right?
So let's say you are a non-tech founder, right? You're a non-tech founder. Uh, you know, you're the ideas guy. Okay, you're the guy who's brimming with fantastic ideas. You know the product market fit. You know that there is this great requirement for mattresses that need to be delivered home. How do you find your your co-founder, your tech lead, your CTO? How do you do that? I mean, definitely not LinkedIn and things. So how do you go about doing
Let
it?
me step back. I think before we start searching for a CTO, what really makes a non-tech founder a non-tech founder? What are the most critical elements that will go to a non-tech founder? The technology, the building part is on the tech side, but finding out the pain, the customer, I think that's what falls with the 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 non-tech founder. His onus is about finding that one little problem, one pain that has not been solved yet, and somebody is ready to pay for it. I think that's like the holy grail for any such thing. And I see a lot of us, without even getting there, and this is something that we should talk about next. Without even finding the pain, we end up making fancy presentation, pitch decks, forecasts, and not even validating whether this is the right thing to do or no. I mean, the fact of the matter is now, uh, I was looking at some of the things that we could patent, right? And absolutely, there's nothing left. I mean, people don't have time. Uh, people are flooded with choices. People don't have time. I mean, how worse can your problem be to find that needle in the haystack?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think uh, you need to have that one spark that can be built into a large enough business. And if you're convinced about that one little spark, I think that's a starting point of going towards building that entire product market fit. I know what you mean by dying one slide at a time, creating PowerPoint presentations or becoming an Excel jockey. I mean, there is enough amount of that which is there, and every idea or every startup need not start with 40 slide presentations and one very convoluted, complicated Excel. And I think that is something which I think a lot of people hate me when I say that, listen, I don't have a pitch deck. I have a pitch slide. I have one slide which tells you what the problem is, and all of that. Once you agree that there is an idea, then I can tell you about what the total addressable market is, and I can tell you a whole bunch of things. But please go on.
You're
right?
a true visionary. I mean, people just telling their idea or getting people feel about the pain just by one slide. I think one slide is good enough. This is what the day job does to us. Before you step into the founder's shoe, you are a king at making Excels, PowerPoint, forecast. Whereas in startup, it might not be valid. Your core is about finding the pain and that customer before you can do it. And thanks, Sunil. I think this is one more episode that we can do about the realities of the day job and the realities of being a founder. I think here is a very interesting story about Canva. Both the founders, Melanie and Obrich, they were non-tech guys. They first started out by building yearbooks. They wanted to have a tech on which people could build yearbooks, and they realized Adobe is a complicated tool. It cannot be used. People needed ready material. They built before building Canva. They would have pitched about 100 VCs, telling them about what they're building, and they always got a no. They said it was pretty fancy. Till one guy, I think that guy was one of the ex Google guys.
Yeah, you're talking about Cameron Adams.
Cameron Adams was the guy whom he reached through this investor. So he believed, and then he introduced them to Cameron Adams, and these guys serenaded him for close to about 3 years before they got him on. But that didn't deter them to build a prototype, to launch, to get the initial traction before Cameron became truly enamored by the vision that these guys had. And now we know Canva. It is giving Adobe a tough time, a good run. I mean, products like Canva become like one.
Yeah, I think what it leads to is really this, that the person who has the idea, the non-tech guy who has got the idea, he has to be somebody who's executing very well. He needs to be the execution guy. He needs to be the guy who is holding the morale up. He's the guy who is doing everything necessary to keep the startup alive every day in the morning. It's basically what I wrote a couple of days ago was that your startup dies every day, and the only job the founder has is to revive that startup every day in the morning, and then watch it die by the end of the day. Because so many things can go wrong, and I think that is what a founder, tech, non-tech, largely, if it's your idea, you need to be able to execute it very well, because there can be 100 ideas, right? Executing it at scale is where the art and the science is, and you need all the guts in the world to be able to execute it in the right way. And I think that's also the reason why a lot of the investors ask that question: have you done this before?
Have you done this before? Yeah, we get that question a lot every time. And how do you do it? What's your track? What's your background? That brings me to another question that I will pose to you. Now that you've established yourself as somebody who can understand the customer and the pain, and you have an idea, how do you and what do you look for in a tech co-founder? I mean, how and why would you really need one?
See, eventually, all products that are built in the new age, the digital media, if you are going to be basing it as a technology product, you will need somebody to be the custodian of technology. If you're starting up and if you're bootstrapping, at that point in time, to build a prototype or to build the minimum viable, there are a lot of tools that are available. There are lots of ways in which you can build the minimum viable. I think getting from that one slide, that is the idea, to getting to the point where there is a minimum viable product available, that is the first step. Once you have a minimal viable product that's demoable, I think some amount of that angst and pain is gone away. But more important than that, I think, is the fact that does what your idea is, does it have 100 customers? Right? Okay, does it have 10 customers?
Right.
Does it have 10 enterprises that are willing to talk to you, give you the time of the day? Is your network deep enough that you can go and talk to some of these customers and get a buy-in to the idea? Because I don't think, if you got 100 customers, if you got 10 customers who are willing to pay for something like that, that is better situation than having no customer, but you've got to build a very fancy product. So that's at least my opinion on this. So
yeah, and I've seen largely like non-founder sort of a initiated business. where the tech co-founder comes in. They're like uh, one side of the same coin. It's like a marriage, but the non-tech guy is the guy who understands like about the tech a lot, and the tech guy who's building the product also understands a large part about what is the customer. I mean, what are the usability, uh, the experience part of it. I mean, uh, the two should be able to do the tango. I mean, it's almost like the two are like jiving away. One of the interesting stories here is about what happened in our region, which is Grab, where Anthony Tan, when he started Grab in Malaysia, he just wanted to hail taxi like how it was being done in US. He was ex McKinsey and Howard, and uh, before he got in, his CTO, who was from a similar background and from Harvard, uh, Louis, who's Hui Ling. So for them to come to a consensus, for them to be together, it's a lot about understanding each other, having the culture and the values right. Like even with me and my the co-founding team, which is Anurag and Shabri, we have we understand each other. We sometimes they say the words that I don't, and I say a few of solution, which they then say, yeah, it's something that is workable. So it's a very close knit team.
Right, right. So it's like it's a blind date that eventually ends up in some sort of relationship, which might lead to long-term, marriage or whatever. We both married, we know what that means. So one of the things which always is, you have a lot of people saying that, I got a very disruptive idea. I got a disruptive idea. How do that? I have a disruptive idea, but for a disruptive idea to be there, like, I need to be politically correct for okay, great, disruptive idea. Now, how do you go find that that person on the other side? What are the things that you do? I mean, we've all done the rounds of startups, and we have our own little commercial secrets around how to do this. But what do you think? What should you be looking in a co-founder who is your work wife?
Yeah, that's another interesting question. So yeah, I think from uh, the first thing is we should be able to gel well, right? They say that if you can survive your co-founder for 9 to 12 months, then that's the right co-founder. Otherwise, a large number of startups go bust because of the fight between the founders, and that's one single, not just cash, but that's the reason. For me, uh, having a product mindset, so not just the fancy tech, but how relevant is it in somebody's life, and how it's making his life go 10x is very important. Uh, whether it be fancy tech, it's of no use unless it's able to solve the problem. That's like one big criteria. The second thing should be an open mind, an openness to say, okay, because in startups we pivot a lot. We would not know if something that we're making, we might have to junk that and go for something new. So we should have the ability to backtrack and say and embrace the truth and the reality, and then move on, pivot, and change. For that, we should be in a position to build uh, anything. uh, I would love to have somebody, because one of the great key requirements for us is to raise funds to have a network of customers, etc. So a kind of network always helps. So I would also see if not just working within the four walls, but how well is he connected back into the university, where we might want to get people to start working on the product, or maybe to reach out to some prospective customers, or maybe to venture founders. I think those things are very important. And the last thing, if I don't know him, I would always go for a reference, not just one, two, three, four, five, till you are completely convinced. Because unless you build that track, you just cannot. It's not a LinkedIn job search.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Unless you're completely convinced about your co-founder, and because you're going to live, breathe for a significant amount of your day for years together. If the startup is anything that is going to go successful, and if you are dreading every day in the morning working with your co-founder, then there is something very seriously wrong in it. And these are nuances that seasoned investors pick up. Right, one of the things that a lot of investors look at when they're talking to co-founders is what's the body language. Is one co-founder able to complete the sentence of another co-founder? That twinning which is there is something. How do you resonate with each other? Is there a vibration, right? And I think that's very important. I mean, if you want to vent about your co-founder, vent about the co-founder to a neutral entity who's not going to rat on you and go and talk behind your back. Probably the best person to do it if your wife is patient. Rant about your co-founder, but don't go and do it in a manner where it's going to come back to your co-founder, because co-founders are human beings. Whether you want to accept that fact or not, co-founders are still human beings. They may be, they have a lot of things. I think those are things which is there. The other thing which we being tech co-founder, we've been having done this a bunch of times. One of the things that I learned the hard way was to look for a very simple thing which I think is turned out to be very important for me. Technical co-founders or tech co-founders or techie co-founders, they fall in love with something that they have built. Right? They build something and they are completely in love with that. Right? And by nature, startups are meant to destroy everything that they build every 6 months. Right? If you're not willing to do that, then your product is never going to evolve. That means you have to scrap everything that you built every 6 months and rebuild. And that shedding of skin is very important. If you by chance are stuck with a co-founder who is unwilling to do it because he loves that product, like the idea that he's built is
so passionate. I think it's like it's like your baby, right? I mean, nothing is like, wrong. It's like everything. Everybody, anyone who says anything about the product, you take it like, oh, that guy is like a. He does not have a perspective. How
he's
can he
Sergey Brin of his world. Then you are in trouble. So that is another thing. I think the other thing that a lot of people miss out on is communication, talking. Right? Make it a point to have FaceTime with your co-founder. At least once or twice a week. Don't do it every day. You're going to hate him after that. But once or twice a week, sit down over a cup of coffee, talk about all the political things that you want to talk about, and laugh and all of that. And I think then it starts becoming human. Otherwise, you're just like to kind of counter gravitational forces that are going around in circles and nothing is coming out of it. Welcome back, and this is Dushyant's favorite topic for the day. He's been talking about this for the last couple of days, and Dushyant, yours to take home.
So as when we were in our day jobs, we were doing a lot of these research to find our strengths and weaknesses. We had this wonderful tool called the Hogan, which got taken every some time from the organizations which could afford it, right? So Marley is one such tool which I found where you can. It's got a set of tokens which is free, and you can get your whole team on it. And what this does is, this is very, very high level, but it gives you your strengths, your weaknesses, and what could be potential blind spot. It's a fabulous tool that's got an AI. It can give you coaching, and the good part is you can get the whole team on. So if you're a small team, like 5 or 6, you can know each other's strengths from the start, be more compassionate of what are the boundaries like, and work more cohesively. So it builds like your science and your tech and your it can become like an input as a personal coach as you interact more. So you can log into the site, get Marley, and try it's fabulous. So I had got introduced to this from one VC whom we were pitching to, and they swore by this fact that they used Marley to assess the teams. So their one thing that always gets left out from all the pitch decks is like what you said about uh, the chemistry between the co-founders. What are the blind spots? Can they really make it and take it on? If you knew them from the past, it's a lot more easy. But since most of the time you'll not know them, they use this as a reference to find out the cohesiveness between the team. And I completely agree. Startups is all about people. It's all about the human capital, and they can do anything if they have the right set of people and spot the right opportunity.
So, do you recommend that people who are two co-founders are finding themselves coming towards one startup goal, use Barley to find out a little bit more? Is that what you're suggesting? Is that
maybe I mean it's a tool that's more evaluative, and as humans, I think we're very good at judgment, but not at self-assessment. And times these tools help us self-assess ourselves and puts that in perspective. I think no harm. It's not recommendation. I think everyone's got their own set of rules and
right.
things to do.
But it's just a very good app or just a very good tool to basically ensure that the human angle of the two co-founders and the team is taken care of.
Absolutely, yeah,
completely. So, Dushyant, I have one thing. We spoke about you being a non-tech co-founder, and you found your tech guys, and you built a startup and all that. Now, assume that you don't have a tech co-founder. You don't find a tech co-founder, right? You're like two guys who are, or three guys who are got a great idea. There is a product market fit. You have those 100 customers who are willing to pay kind of a scenario. And how do you build the product? What do you do in that case? Because the co-founder tech guy is a couple of butts away. Any suggestions on that? I mean, how do you do that?
I mean, what you're asking me is, should you go and go with a CTO right from the start?
Or no. What I'm saying is that you don't have a tech co-founder. How do you build?
I mean, now there are a lot of ways in which we can build. We can outsource technology. We can outsource. Now we have AI. We for us at SmartWiz, cloud was our first hire where we've used it to build codes. So we did not hire many people because we want to build small and then scale. So I think there are a lot of options available right now. You can outsource, you can get freelance work, you can get college, you can have a lot of challenges, hacks from the university. But when you know that it's a product that requires and that can be scaled, I think you should really go out for one. And almost like pitching to a VC, it's pitching. I think as a founder, you're doing pitching all the time, like whether it's to a VC or to a prospective employee or to a co-founder or to your team. And this is what you should get at. I mean, the first conviction you need to have is whether you have the product market fit or no, or whether this is scalable or no. That's the first thing. What is the pain? Who's the customer? And how repeatable would they pay money?
Yeah, I think in the last half an hour there are 5 or 6 episodes worth of talking points that we have. But just adding to what you said, like, when we were building Mela, it's like two tech co-founders. Both Luke and me are non-tech. I know a little bit of tech, but I can think through solutions. I know what is to be built, but somebody else has to build. So the fallback was, no code. Bubble.io was fabulous for us. I mean, we built our entire talent marketplace on Bubble.io. And then when we started looking at, like, you're absolutely right.
Right.
Probably employee number 4 or 5 was Claude and ChatGPT, because we have, at least I have used a lot of that to test some of the things, to build little prototypes, and then you go productionize it. That's been there. I think in markets like Singapore, one of the things that and if you're a startup in Singapore, one of the things that you don't realize when you're trying to build, and if you're a non-tech founder, is that there are lots of help that is available. I mean, if you work with Startup Singapore, if you work with SG Innovate, these are forums that have got a lot of internships. People who are available for internships. You can build that. You can use that. NUS has got thing. SMU has got thing. So it's a matter of stepping out of your comfort zone and going and talking to those people and getting some of these things done. Because some of these prototypes then go on to become full-fledged products.
Yeah.
At least you got something which is great. Friends have been great help for me. I've been able to call friends up and say that, hey, this is something that I want to build. You can always negotiate a better price, and you don't get it done for free, but you're able to negotiate a better price, and you're able to get something that is working, and then you clobber it together. I call this sellotape technology, which basically is, you big borrow steel and put things together, and a product works. And it's stuck together by sellotape, but it works, it functions, it does not break down or anything like that. Once you have that in place, then at the side, you can start structuring it and building the big infrastructure play that you want to do, and all of that. And by the time, if you can find a tech head, a CTO, or a chief product officer who can think through some of the longer problems, I think that's the best way to find the solution. I mean, that's just.
Now there are so many venture builders, venture studios also, and I had one of them reaching out to me. Hey, I've got some 4 or 5 products, like one in property, the other one in hospitality tech. Would you like to come in? I mean, the tech is already there. You just take it and you start building customer base, or try making a business case out of it. You can go to incubators, find out people, but I think always references, your old organization from people. They serve as a very good starting point when you start thinking about. I definitely think you should not think about, if you are from non-tech, start thinking about CTO from day one. Your first focus should be on finding out what is the pain, like, where is that customer? Is he in a hole? Is he wants to come? Is he? So how painful is it for him to come out? Somebody had given me one other thumb rule of 3 sets of problems, and the products are. I mean, that is something that we can do in a separate episode. But finding a customer who's got real painful problem and wants to come out of that hole is something that you want to find. And once you've done that, I mean, building fancy tech, building a team, or doing anything else just becomes a lot more easy.
Yeah. And I think the point it comes back is that as a founder, you are the first salesman, the first guy who's going and doing business development and all of that. So for your idea, the problem that you have, you found a solution, and if you have 100 customers lined up, right? I don't think any dev guy is going to say no to you, because he wants to come and join something which is successful, something which can potentially, find that that set of customers and bring value and investors and so on and so forth. I think that's a great way to kind of think. So, we've talked a lot, and if I were to sum this up, and if I were to say that okay, there are two non-tech founders talking about this, and it's quite a lot. I think our job is not to sit around. That's the first thing. Our job as non-tech founders is not to sit around. Uh, our job is to prove that our idea has got legs. Our job is to find the first users. Our job is to find a revenue stream that can support the business in some form or the other. I think that is if you were to sum up all the things that we've said, that is where the non-tech founders core is. And
I think you summed it right. It's about finding the right right pain point. It's about finding the right set of customers, and it is a difficult job, because given the kind of choices that we have in the current world, finding that right thing is almost like finding a unicorn, right? I think that's where it's got termed as. And once I mean, everything is uncertain in a startup world, right? From before so if you form a team or a set of people before you have zeroed in on the pain point, I think it's going to be a lot more uncertain. You'd rather be certain about a certain problem before you start building a team and get people on. For me, that would be one right approach, because conviction and convincing will be a lot more easier. Not just your co-founder, but also when you're out there to get investment, employees, customers, all of this will fall in place.
Yeah, and I think if you cannot do that, and we've discussed this in the past, if these are things that you cannot do, then I think it's time that you as a founder need to rethink your approach altogether. Right?
Great. I mean, that is like the masala for our next episode. I mean, is there a structure? Is it going to be you get up in the morning and then you start? I mean, this startup, or is there a process or a structure, or do we need to make certain changes? I think those are very relevant points, because one thing that we miss is we see all the glory and the limelight, but also don't see what goes in the background to make anything successful. We remember things only which are successful and not something that may have gone in. So yeah, that's a complete masala for the next one.
And what we'll be doing on the following podcasts is going to be bringing real non-tech founders who have been able to put something together. We'll also bring in tech founders. We will bring in a couple of investors, VCs, to get their point of view. So it's basically everything that you need to know. We kind of will become the toolbox for somebody who's looking at building a startup from scratch. And it's meant for early stage. It can be for any stage of the startup. And I think that's what we are saying. So, you already thought of a title, I think, for the next episode. With knowing Dushyant, he will write it down and he'll have it ready. So yeah, go for it, Dushyant.
Okay. It's like, is there a structure to the startup which is and the case of the infinite monkeys with infinite keyboards? I think you put me on a spot. I never thought about this. I will have to write it down before I can.
Yeah, so this one
spell it out.
This one you didn't write at all. Okay. So yeah, so we will cover the infinite monkeys and the infinite keyboards in the next podcast, in the next episode.
So, but the most important here is how do we? What we want to bring is real and the truth. We will also discuss some hypothetical case study, and one of the things that I had in my mind was discussing a business case for something like a golf simulator. I mean, golfing is becoming so expensive. People take the fees is going up. The number of golf courses is going down. Though I don't play golf, but imagine, is there a business case for having golf simulators across the city? Does it seem like a viable idea? How do you go about this? I mean, those are things that we should want to tickle the brain with, get the real truth, and some counterintuitive ideas where we are not thinking on the regular lines.
Yeah, I think something that is coloring outside the box, if you want to do that. So, if you liked what we spoke about, you can subscribe, drop us a message. Tell us what your biggest struggle has been as a tech, non-tech founder. Even if you're a tech founder, tell us what your biggest problems and struggles have been. Particularly if you're an early stage founder, and we'd love to hear from you. And we promise to uh, look at all the messages and DMs that come our way, and we will invite some of you guys on the podcast as we go along. And
we want to meet in person. If you're in Singapore, our favorite thing about coffee, we were not able to get this in this podcast studio, but they definitely want to share some of that on one of the witness days. It started with me and Sunil sharing our problems. So if you would like to, I mean, if you only if you're okay about getting a third perspective, maybe you're in your day job thinking about starting something, want to bounce off an idea, or you're already building one and want some I mean, non-judgmental, non-BC sort of a view, uh, or want some ideas, free ideas over coffee. Um, Watch this space. We would be allocating and going to some great coffee shops.
yeah, there's some lovely coffee shops in Singapore, and we will hope to have you with us. And if nothing, just be a fly on the wall and look at all the things that are happening. And hopefully, this will continue to grow as we go along and build this podcast. So thanks a lot for listening, and until next time, Dushyant.
Until next time.
Thank you.